Hey everyone, back here for another weekly business tip, and this week's topic is on kind of a fun topic, effective leadership. And when I talk about effective leadership, I'm not just mentioning being a good manager, but really honing in on how to get the most out of your employees. Actually, a book I'm reading by Daniel Goleman called Primal Leadership talks a lot about that, and I'll refer to that in the article here. But what they found is that a big piece in effective leadership is actually emotional intelligence. And over the last 20 years, there's been a lot of research on the impact of emotional intelligence within the workplace. So, with that said, I want to go through and talk about four musts for being an effective leader. So, the first piece, and this really focuses in on emotional intelligence, is knowing yourself. As leaders, we are likely to be in a mood one way or another, whether it's good or bad. And whether we like it or not, employees are likely to reflect on that mood. So if we come into work, we have a bad attitude going into the workday, we're not communicating well, it's likely that employees are going to follow and mirror that personality that you're giving off that day. So be aware. In Goleman's book, he talks about three things that you can really do, and I've stated a couple of questions in the article here, but think about why we're in the mood we're in, what's causing it, and kind of realize if we're upset that day, we need to admit it. Um, Admit that we understand that we are bringing a bad attitude into the workplace, and we understand that employees are going to mirror that. Then I want you guys to just pause for a moment and realize what impact that has on the employees and your productivity at the workplace. And then finally, look back and see what you can do to adjust your mood, your attitude at work, and then think about the benefits that will have on your employees and their productivity throughout the day. Then I want you guys to turn and start to look out at your employees once you've figured out or gotten a good grasp on your own emotions. Think about your employees and really think about three factors that get them to work productively at the workplace. And those three factors are morale, motivation, what motivates your employees to get out of bed in the morning and get to work, and then optimism. Are they optimistic about where they can go within the company achieving its overarching vision, and things along those lines? So those are some points to consider. But the most important piece of knowing your employees is really being a good listener. So I dropped three tips in there, some things to consider for trying to get a good understanding of your employees. And you can really mirror this not just with your employees, but in your personal life as well. The first one is going to be asking probing questions. Are you asking questions to understand where your employees are coming from, what their thoughts are, and what their feelings are on certain subject matters? The second one is active listening, listening to your employees, listening to their responses without inputting your own personal opinion in there, so that they make sure that they feel heard when they're sharing those thoughts or emotions with you as the leader or manager. And then the last important piece is perspective. So making sure you're listening to your employees and trying to understand what they're saying from their perspective, not your perspective as the crew foreman, the manager, or potentially the owner. You really want to kind of drop down to their level and make sure that you have a good understanding of where they're coming from and why they're coming from that specific thought process. As you know, organizations are made up of employees and its leaders. So to understand your organization, you have to have a good understanding of yourself as the leader, and then as a good understanding of your employees who really make up this organization. I challenge you guys to look at your organization to assess the company culture. Is there a different culture from one department to another, or from one crew to another crew, depending on their operations or just the way they do things? So I was doing some research on the MIT Human Resource website, and they actually have a good company culture test that asks some deeper probing questions. So if you guys want a link to that, feel free to shoot me an email and I can forward that over to you. But that'll really kind of get your head spinning and focus in on how you can get a good understanding of what your company culture is like, and how it's built out based on your employees and the leaders within the organization. The fourth and overarching piece to all this is creating a vision. A lot of companies will say they have a vision, but the most important piece is making sure that everyone's on the same page with that vision. You should understand your impact as a leader by now. Have good input from your employees and how they feel about certain things, and make sure that everyone has a good understanding of the organization, its culture, and why your company does what it does. You can then move on to creating that vision to help everyone work towards a common goal. And within this vision, that's when the leader really has the time to shine, because the leader can help steer everyone in the right direction. You're essentially the engine working towards that destination. A couple of quick things to help along the way, the delegation piece. So you're going to have employees that are working um, more proficiently in some areas than others, and maybe they'll like one area more than another, or vice versa. And you want those employees to be able to delegate tasks that they aren't necessarily proficient at or don't enjoy doing to other employees. Obviously, there's no perfect mix in that, but some employees are going to like doing some things, some employees are going to like doing other things. Make sure that you have a good mix, and allow employees to delegate that task so that they're happy within the workplace and working productively. The second piece, goal setting. Goal setting is not the same as a vision. Your vision is your long-term destination. Your goal setting is really your short day-to-day type operations that help you get to that vision. So that is a good piece to utilize in motivating your employees, making sure that they're engaged day to day by setting short, achievable goals. And then the last piece is coaching and education. Success is in the journey, not the destination. I think a lot of us have heard that quote before, but each employee is going to have their own motivation in terms of why they do things day to day, what gets them up out of bed every morning. You want to make sure that they're not just working towards the organization's vision, that they're also getting some personal gain along the way in that journey. So, understanding what motivates employees, is it education? Is it higher pay rate? Is it potential to move into a leadership position? Making sure that they're getting the growth that they desire while you're all working towards that organizational vision will help increase productivity, increase happiness on the job site. So, those are the four must haves to effective leadership. There are a ton of resources. I would encourage you guys to check out Daniel Goleman. Again, feel free to email me for that culture workbook. And if you have any other questions or just want to have a discussion about your company culture, your leadership, feel free to reach out. Again, hope everyone is doing well. Stay safe as always, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks.